stay on. We have more questions for you. But for now, let's address a couple of more sectors. In oil and gas space, of course, Gujarat Gas came out with good set of numbers. There are expectations from MGL as well to come out with decent numbers. We have Jal Irani now joining us from Edelweiss. Jal, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Your thoughts on city gas stocks. We saw good set of numbers and well rewarded by market on Gujarat Gas, and of course today we have MGL.
So my thought is that the city gas distribution space as a whole is both in the near term as well as the long term the sector to be in, and it is going to be a significant sustainable volume growth for years to come, in double-digit volume growth for years to come. Firstly, if we look at the near term, the worst of the COVID is over. And essentially, we are now largely seeing in this quarter, either the likes of MGL or Indraprastha Gas are largely going to do about the same volumes as they had done pre-COVID. And in fact, the next quarter then is going to be a fairly sharp growth, in my opinion, of in excess of 10%. So the trajectory in the near term is strongly positive on volumes. And Gujarat Gas, as you know, it especially in the industrial segment has reported nearly 30% growth, 28% growth, which is dominant this. So that's the near-term volume growth. Secondly, on the margin front, especially IGL and MGL have got absolute pricing power, because as oil prices go up and the taxes on diesel and petrol have shot up earlier itself, diesel CNG is 50 to 60% cheaper than petrol and diesel. So therefore, these companies have got absolute pricing power, which in the near term, as volumes in the last 2 quarters have been weak, they're using this pricing power to increase profit substantially. Now, this is purely a near-term perspective. From the longer-term perspective, why do we expect double-digit sustainable growth? Because fact of the matter is that India has got 25 of the 50 most polluted cities in the world. India ranks 179 on 180 on sort of like the pollution index, and which means that only one country is more polluted than India. And therefore, to that extent, the government, recognizing that, has sharply accelerated new geographies licensing over the last few years, and that is now beginning to kick in. And therefore you're going to get a sustainable volume growth, double-digit growth for a long time to come. There is a third very important aspect. There was a major overhang of the regulatory overhang where the industry was going to be opened up to competition. While it has been somewhat opened up to competition, in reality, the whole regulation has worked out very favorable to the incumbents. So therefore, on all these fronts, their sort of if one may say, almost a confirmed growth is going to sustain really for a long time.
Why do you say the rules have worked in favor of the incumbent?
So, see, essentially, firstly, on the open access, which is limited to 20%, they anyway get a very healthy 12% post-tax ROC, which is 16% pre-tax ROC, which is the way it's normally calculated, which is a very healthy ROC, and that's an annuity business.
Yeah.
Now, even for competition to come into that, the biggest potential competitor would be the oil marketing companies. The oil marketing companies have not been allowed to so in the existing gas stations where CNG is already being dispensed, along with the OMCs cannot simply take that over. That has got to continue. They can set up new gas stations on their own, but they cannot take over the existing gas stations. Now, all the relevant high volume gas stations are already in collaboration with these companies. So to that extent, their existing status quo remains essential.
So, Jal, just one final question on Gujarat Gas itself. Don't you think a lot of this news is already priced? I mean, the stock has gone from 100 to 400 in about 2 years' time. You see more price discovery happen?
So, see, just to give you a couple of statistics to answer that. Basically, what has been the trigger point is that coal gas has been banned in Morbi. Now, coal is extremely polluting, and it was about time. So this happened 2 years back. Now, and that was an unfair competition because that was a cash trade where there were no taxes and it was surreptitiously being done. So it was unfair competition. Now it is a like-to-like competition, and the competing products are more than 10% more expensive. Therefore, not only in Morbi, but now this ban is being progressing across the country. So therefore, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Then if you see also in CNG, which is a relatively smaller part of the business for Gujarat Gas, which is about 20% of its business, but that again is poised to grow very rapidly. They were earlier adding 50 gas stations a year. Now they're going to be adding 150 gas stations a year. So that is a very significant area of growth.
Okay.
The third thing is that currently it has got barely about 10 geographies which are under commercial operations.
Got it.
They have taken up an additional 20 geographies roughly, which are new geographies which are just about beginning to kick in. So these are completely new regions, and therefore across the board, you've seen the existing engine firing away, you've seen the new engines firing away, and also their margins are actually the lowest among the city gas distribution players. So on an average, their margin is about 5 rupees an SCM. The others are 7.8 and even 12 rupees an SCM. So they've got a huge margin upside as well. So I think Gujarat Gas should continue doing very well.
Got that, Jal. Thank you very much for joining us and giving us more perspective on this. So there is a growth tailwind, and there is, of course, an ESG tailwind.
Yeah.
It's for environment friendly. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll take a quick break. Coming back with our technical expert, Sudarshan Sukh.